Hi, welcome to the next edition of Watching the Pioneer Meta. Today we have four decks to talk about, and we have like a kind of a hopefully at the end of this um, churn cycle because if not, then this deck's gonna keep going up a little bit more. Uh, I was kind of actually wondering maybe they messed up in the ban announcement because I was thinking that they're gonna have to ban anything. It's probably gonna be the mouse. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Except we have to talk about the changes in the meta, and I have four decks to talk about. Next week will be the week that I talk about new decks featuring brand new cards. And let's dive in. Before we do, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification. So for future videos, we're on our way to 2,000 subs. And let's get there together. Let's dive in. So, red deck wins is up to 30% of the last 2 weeks. Worth the data, 157. Rakdos Demons has took a little bit of a dip, which seems a little weird, considering the fact that Demons should be able to prey on the red deck wins deck with 76 percentage points. Phoenix can't keep up with red deck wins. It is falling down. We have Junsack, which does a reasonable job into the upper parts. Nib Mizzet is on the rise. So is Greasefang, because it's also very quick. Other than that, Mono Black down here is taking a little bit of an increase. I'm not sure if this is Waste Not or if this is just like mid-range. Other than that, so many decks are just dropping. Now, you could argue that there is a needed for a ban warrant here. Now, there's two things we have to talk about regarding if there actually would have been into a point where a ban is worthy. Now, if you are definitely a Pioneer player, you can let me know in the comment section what you guys think about my analysis. But first of all, the one caveat and why you could argue there should not be a ban is because the fact that leagues and challenges are typically filled with basically moto grinders. So they typically will not really invest in the format. They typically just play whatever they think they could learn quick and play. And these two decks make a lot of sense from that regard, right? Rakdos Demons has been kind of stationary for the past like 4 months or since Dustmorn. And Red Deck Wins has been skyrocketing in standard, which is kind of why I think is kind of taken off into Pioneer, is because I feel like standard players that do our moto grinders typically hit multiple formats, depending on when a challenge is and stuff like that. So that if there is a challenge when there's not an overlap with their actual other primary formats like standard or modern, they will pick up and go into a Pioneer League. And they're more likely just to play a deck that is easy to pilot. They have overlap with their standard challenges and stuff like this, right? So overall, you get this weird issue where the deck that fits most of this criteria is most likely going to get a lot of play in Pioneer, which is why Red Deck Wins is taking an absurd amount of actual real estate in the format. Let me know what you think about my analysis, because that is pretty sure I'm spot on why Red Deck Wins is so high. Because there's nobody actually playing Moto, because I don't play Moto. It's a horrible client. And a lot of the other big content creators also have moved over to Arena as well. And you're left with basically grinders left over, and which is fine. I mean, so you get these skewed numbers, and it's going to be this humongous amount of red deck wins, like I said, because those grinders are there just to get their play points and get their points towards, I believe, like a MTGO RCQ type situation. So they get their qualifiers. So they're doing it for legit reasons, and they're grinding on Moto to get there. So, like I said, they're not really going to get and play the best deck in the format, nor most likely are they going to invest in figuring out the format. They're just going to play a deck that gets them a good chance at making it. So that's why I'm under the assumption that there's a 30% meta share of red deck wins. If you disagree, let me know in the comment section. But I do think that is probably a huge factor in why this looks like it's so skewed. And there's not really any other paper tournaments where if you had paper tournaments consistently, this meta would not look like this. It would look very balanced and very good. But if you had to ban a card or two to try to shake this format up, it would have to be the mouse, the one drop mouse, and in Demons you would have to again hit Fable, both of which would hit both decks down, and it probably make every other deck better for it. But I think that, like I said, the one drop mouse makes the most sense. And based on precedent, typically if a card gets rebalanced in historic, it's probably an upper candidate to actually getting the ban hammer. And it's actually one of the most annoying cards to face, because if you kill it, you get punished. If you leave it there for too long, you get punished. Like, you have to remove it when it has no counters on it. Hopefully you can get it off the battlefield and take less damage. Or if you wait too long, they just fling it at your face. So, like, there's just so many nuances things with that card that I think it should be the one that would get hit if you need to power down red deck wins. But that is enough talking about the meta. Because I want to know what you think about this in the comment section. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I think it is a huge part of it. Like I said, who's playing Pioneer on MTGO? I would argue it's not that many actual diehard Pioneer fans. It's probably the people that are trying to win and grind for play points. So let's get into the 4 decks that I have to talk about today. So first is Golgari Food. Now, what's noticeable about this deck compared to previous ones that I've featured, it's playing this one of experimental. So whenever a food, you sacrifice food, create a rat. Kind of interesting. It's playing a Dredger's Insight and a Quack Feast. So other than that, like, it's kind of stationary from the previous versions. You have your Goose, your Cat, your other cat, your Push, your Talent, your Disputes. A Vraska, kind of throw it in here. You have your Thought Seizes on the sideboard for a little bit of hand disruption. You have a Decay for a little bit more spot removal. Damping Spheres for Phoenix. Also potentially for Lotus Field. You have Formation for Atraxa and enchantments. You have Graveyard Hate. You have Artifact enchantment removal. Grim Bobble for aggro hate plus Massacre. So that's kind of what you have, to play with. Overall, this deck feels like it's probably a reasonable deck. Is it better than Junsack? I'm not sure. That's what's really going to be determining if this is a deck that's legit or if it's just a weaker version of Jund. Yeah, you have less colors, so you're not having that debacle, but honestly, 3-color decks in Pioneer is not that bad. So I don't think you were really worried all that much about that component. Since you have Shocks, you have Pathways, you have Fast Lands, you have Slow Lands, you have Verges. There's like so many good dual lands in the format, not even including your tri lands. So I'm not really sold that this, you can't play 3 colors effectively. So I do think that the Tarkir set should have a shake up, because there's a decent amount of good 3-color cards in the next set. And, it's definitely worth trying out that kind of stuff in Pioneer. Let's get into the next deck. So next on my list is this weird Convoke deck. It's playing an Embercleave, which is spicy, Forbidden Friendship, which is spicy. Couple cases. Like I said, it's 2 Embercleaves, 3 Recruiters, 3 Bushwhackers with your Burning Tree Emissary. So it's like mixing in the Atarka Red package without the Atarka Red. You still have Demolition as a nice way to destroy your artifact you make with your Inspector or your Epicure. Then you have your Convokers. So it's a pretty spicy list. Sideboard, you have Devils for Elves, other small creatures. You have Graveyard Hate with Rest in Peace. You have Collective Effort. I can't remember all the modes on this thing. I know it was very good in certain matchups. You have Flanker for Graveyard Hate. Also, because Scry gain a little bit of life. Snare for target removal. Hand Disruption. A little bit extra creature removal. That turns into a Anthem. And against grinding matchups like Control, you have Case, where you could draw extra cards per turn. And that is Boros Convoke. Very spicy Boros Convoke. Like I said, mixing the BTE and the Bushwhacker with your Convokers, which is a nice way to have more Wink Editions and kind of speeds up the deck itself. So I'm still not sure. I guess we have 2 Wardens. So I'm not sure why you would play Forbidden Friendship over the Reinforcement, since it says Flash. This doesn't. I guess you get Haste. But you're not really caring about stuff at your graveyard. So I'm not sure. I guess it's better off of a BTE. Because you play BTE, you play Forbidden Friendship. Okay, that makes sense. So I guess if that is the criteria you're working towards, why play Reinforcements? Just play 4 copies of Friendship. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about the split between this. I get for Friendship now because of BTE. It's really good there. But let's get into the next list. So next on my list is Boros Burn. Now, we have Bolt Wave, we have our Eidolons, we have Swift Spear, Show Off, we have some Kamano, some Wizard's Lightning, Screaming Nemesis down here for a little bit of life gain hate, 2 copies to light up the stage. Kind of interesting that there's only 2 copies. Skewer for more burn. Helix, Boros Charm. 4 copies of Rage. I'm not sure that I actually would want 4 copies of Rage. It's a very hit and miss type card, especially with the high amounts of removal in the format. It's not that great. The Wizard's Lightning is also kind of weird, right? Because that's not a wizard, that's not a wizard, that ain't a wizard. So that's not a wizard. I'm not really sure how often you're actually going to be able to discount this just because of show off. But against aggro, we have Searing Blood. Nice way to answer a small mouse and deal damage to them. Skull Crack for life gain hate. Linux also for life gain hate. Plus, if you're domain deck, you're going to take a lot of damage. Showdown of the Skull is a nice way against grinding matchups like Control, mid-range, drawing 4 cards potentially and doing that. More life gain hate, also pretty good against Phoenix. Well, not Phoenix, Lotus Field, where they cast free spells. Quintorius does it. There's also other matchups, I guess, where this could be relevant for the free claws, which is what you kind of want. Against Control, it's pretty reasonable too. It's repeatable damage to your opponent's face, which is nice as well. Sometimes that's better than just like Monstrous Rage, where they just kill the threat you target. It's nice to have the ability just to take those out, bring in 4 taxes, deal incremental damage every turn. We have one more deck to talk about. Let's get into that one. So last but not least is this deck that's been going around. It was mono blue, but now they picked up green. I don't know if this is the same person that built it from the one that I tried. That deck was pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, that video will be dropping, I think, on the other channel, my ACG channel. So if you want to subscribe over there and watch the mono blue one, check that out. We have Trainer to help find our This Town Ain't Big Enough, plus helps it get with talent. Oath of This is a nice little pickup here for This Town Ain't Big Enough. You get to look top 3, pick a card, bounce it, pick another top card off top 3. So it's kind of like a better trainer. We have Stock Up for a little bit of digging for our helixes. Ren as a nice backup win con. Blitz, that's a nice way of tapping our stuff for mana. Keep casting more spells. Mox Amber for the infinite loop. This deck did cut the Kitza, which I guess is okay. Against aggro, we have 4 Fogs. Also against aggro, we have Gust. We have, for Troxa, we have Formation. And against Enjaments, we also have Formation. Graveyard Hate, we have that. Against Control, Spirit, stuff like that, we have Dispute. Up the Beanstalk, nice way to fight against Bounce and other matchups that go long and grindy. And that is all I have to talk about for today. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about these lists. What is your favorite? All that I want to know. Overall, I think this is a sweet, these are some sweet decks overall. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Like I said, next time we will be talking about brand new Tarkir Cards Index that got some 5-0s or did solid in a challenge. Talk to you guys next time. Shout out to all my supporters. And if you want to see any other content from me, check out either one of these 2 videos and playlist. And I'll talk to you soon.